All right, well, I have that we're at the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, we put a downloadable resource in the chat, so you guys will have access to all the resources that we cover today. We also have a poll up, and we would appreciate knowing where everyone, what roles each of you are representing as you join us today. And if you have a chance, we'd love to hear where you are joining us from. So if you'll go ahead and put that in the chat, that would be great. I'm going to start by thanking the Department of the Air Force School Liaison Program for making today's webinar on preparing your child emotionally for relocation possible. We always welcome professionals who work with the military-connected children to our parent trainings, but we think you'll find the information and tips we present useful, regardless of what role. We do focus our webinars on parents, so do know that. Before we introduce ourselves, we do want to share a little bit more about MSEC and its mission. The Military Child Education Coalition, or MSEC, is a nonprofit organization established more than 25 years ago, and our mission is to support all military-connected children by educating, advocating, and collaborating to resolve education challenges associated with the military lifestyle. In 2005, MSEC formalized support and programming for military-connected parents so that they may be empowered and informed and proactive in supporting their children's educational journey. And we strive to deliver informative and interactive webinars that address academic, social, and emotional issues associated with the military lifestyle. Our vision is that every military-connected child is college, work, and life ready. So I'll start by introducing myself. Growing up, I was a military connected kid, and then I joined the Air Force. I married into the Air Force, and my husband just retired in 2022 after 33 years. And we decided to make Alaska our home. So I am joining you today from the far Northwest. We have three military connected children who are all now full grown adults and adulting on their own. Two of them have embraced the military lifestyle as adults. One is in the military and one is married into it. And that may lead you to think, well, why is she still worried about military children? Well, I'm still very invested in the future of military children because I now have a grandson who will be the next generation in our family to be a military kid. So I'm going to hand it over to Emily to introduce herself.
Good. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Emily Barton. I have been with MSEC since 2018 as a parent educator and part of the webinar team. I am also the community coordinator for San Antonio, Texas. My husband is active duty Air Force. He's been in for 25 years. And we recently PCSed from Montgomery, Alabama to San Antonio this past summer and we're really enjoying it so far. We do have two military connected children. Our daughter is 21 years old and she's a junior in college here in Texas. And then our son is 19. He is a freshman in college in Alabama. And so Lisa and I both have experience with our children moving from different place to place. And I hope that you will find this webinar useful. We're going to provide a lot of different tips and strategies for moving. We do have a couple of administrative announcements before we continue. At the end of today's webinar, we'd like to invite you to take our survey about the presentation. We would appreciate it if you took the couple of minutes it requires for you to give us your feedback. This is a key method that we use to tell our funders how we're doing and lets us know where we need to modify things so that we can continue offering the very best training opportunities possible for you, the military connected parents that we serve. You will see a chat box on your screen. Feel free to ask questions and make comments during the webinar. You'll also see that PDF file in the chat box. It states downloadable resource. This contains all of the information relating to today's webinar. If you are joining us by phone, you won't be able to download this resource, but if you send us a private message in the chat box with your email address, we'll make sure that you receive it later today. This webinar is being recorded. You can always view this recording later if you want to review the material or if you experience any technical difficulties during the presentation. Relocating to a new duty station is an inevitable aspect of military life. While we as adults may adjust by focusing on logistics and career transitions, children experience this move from a different perspective. Frequent relocations can lead to stress, anxiety, and academic disruptions, making it crucial for parents to proactively support their children. Understanding how to help children across different developmental stages from infancy to early childhood, middle childhood, then adolescence and late adolescence can ease the relocation. So, here are our learning objectives for today. We will describe the emotional impact of moving to another duty station. We'll identify best practices to assist parents in creating a smooth relocation for military connected children. And we'll share resources and tools that can help families as they're relocating to a new school and community. All right, so Lisa, we're going to go ahead and get started with a video.
Yep, we're moving again. Not like I remember much from last time. I was only 6. So, we've been in San Diego forever. Dad's like, Darian, 4 years feels like a lifetime when you're almost 11. But we've got more adventures in store. I guess, but San Diego's awesome. Especially if you're into the ocean and surfing like me. So Dad got orders to be in Norfolk, Virginia by August. He's a Navy corpsman. He's amped because he gets to hang out on an aircraft carrier working in the medical clinic. Totally cool. He's all about adventures. Me too. My adventures? Hitting the East Coast surf, showing off my skills. Oh yeah, and starting middle school. Wonder what that's gonna be like. The rest of my family? Not sure they're up for this adventure yet. That's my mom. She's been really happy here teaching her yoga classes. And my half-brother Al? He's almost 16. Man, was he mad when he found out about the move. I was kind of surprised because Al's dad is in Virginia. Thought he'd be glad about that. But Al says he doesn't want to leave because he's the quarterback. It's his life. Along with his girlfriend. And the photo bomber? That's my dad. Adventure? Here we go.
I love that video. It's a fun way to start this webinar today. And I know as adults, as parents, and as educators, we all want to understand what the emotional impacts of the moving are on our kids. I mentioned earlier that I'm an adult that was a military kid, and I can say that one of the biggest stressors with me that it still sticks with me as an adult is that question, where am I going to sit at lunch? This may not seem like that big of a deal to someone who's never moved, but I assure you, for most military kids, this is a huge source of anxiety. And I remember in elementary school, having that stress and anxiety and being relieved that there was assigned seating when I got to the cafeteria. But by the time I hit middle school and you didn't have that assigned seating, the panic increased. And when I moved mid-year in middle school, that first day in the cafeteria was even more challenging for me. By the time I got to high school, and I moved my senior year of high school, I had developed a plan ahead of time about how I was going to handle that. And my plan was to avoid the cafeteria altogether by going to the library at lunch. And that meant that I didn't eat at all. And this plan worked the first week until it didn't. I didn't realize that the library was not open on Fridays at lunchtime. And so then I had to make a quick plan B, which was basically just wandering the halls until lunchtime was over. And I'm not sharing this story for any kind of sympathy or to scare anybody, but I do want you to just have a little bit of insight about what it feels to be the new kid at school and that anxiety that kind of builds up. We didn't have MSEC and all these resources and awareness that we do now. And so I'm just really encouraged that you guys are here today because you're taking real, concrete, healthy steps to help our military connected kids, and we're grateful for that. So we have another poll for you that I think Emily is going to put up, and we'd love for you to answer this question on what you think the average number of moves are for military connected children before they graduate from high school. So do you think they move 1 to 2 years before graduation, 3 to 5 years, 6 to 9, or more than 10? And we'll just take a moment to give you all a chance to answer that. I think we all understand that there's typically more than one. So, well, I will say that military families relocate significantly more frequently than civilian families do. And with our military connected children moving an average 6 to 9 times before they graduate high school. This high mobility rate presents a lot of unique challenges, including the loss of friendship, changes in academic environments, and disruptions to extracurricular activities. The research suggests that military children face higher risks of emotional distress compared to their civilian peers due to these constant relocations. And this added social and emotional stress can hinder a child's connection to the new school environment and amplify the potential negative impact on a child's academic performance. Furthermore, for military connected children, absences of the service member is also a part of the lifestyle. And it's not uncommon that shortly after a family moves to a new duty location that the service member is then gone for training or schooling or field exercises pretty quickly after they arrive. And this presents special challenges when coupled with the moving and this may cause children to have an elevated risk of struggles. Having a parent deployed in conjunction with the transition can lead to increased depression and anxiety, maybe some sleep disorders or eating difficulties, and even disconnection from adults and peers. So I'm going to hand it over to Emily.
Thank you, Lisa. Back in 2020, MSEC distributed a survey. It was called the Military Kids Now Education Survey. It contained 80 closed and open items. Over 5,100 responses were received from military connected students, parents, veterans, and professionals serving military connected children. On this slide, you can see some of the impactful statements that we received from some of the children. One said, "Moving is hard on me. I just want a level playing field when I transfer in. Moving is not a choice. I need time to adjust. Everything is new, not just one thing." Some military connected students described feelings of intense nervousness before each move. They described how that anxiety evolved into a kind of disaffection. One student described their lack of effort to make new friends because I'm just going to move again, so why bother? With each move, students reflected on their experience of floating between schools. This can lead them to choose superficial friendships instead of close ones. They know they will just be moving again. And simply adjusting to each new school environment and culture can be very stressful for these mobile students. When we recognize and consider all of these challenges, we are then able to take proactive steps to support our children through the move and foster resilience. Since different age groups require different approaches to emotional support, we're going to discuss the different age groups. When we understand developmental needs and implement more targeted strategies, it can make a significant difference. Each child is unique, and each move brings a particular
Mhm.
set of opportunities, challenges, and some daunting unknowns. So, we're going to go ahead and start by sharing some strategies for our very young children. Though it was a very long time ago, I certainly remember moving when my children were infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. We had a move from Hawaii to Texas and had a 2-year old and a 3-month old. It was quite the adventure. That plane ride was long, and then everything that came after was quite the journey. But we did it. So when you are moving with infants from birth to 2 years old, it's important to maintain consistency. Continue the schedules for feeding, sleeping, and playtime, and try to keep the routines as stable as you possibly
Mhm.
can. When you're changing time zones, try to gradually adjust to that new time zone. Before the movers even come, be sure to set aside and don't let the movers pack your baby's favorite blanket or stuffed animal. Your infant may need extra comfort and affection. Lullabies can provide this comfort, and make sure to give lots of hugs and cuddles to reassure them and provide them that security. Once you've moved to the new location, try to set up the baby's new bedroom to resemble the previous one as much as possible. With your toddlers and preschoolers from ages 3 to 5 years old, explain the move in simple terms. Use age appropriate language and visual aids like books that talk about moving. Books can provide good opportunities for storytelling and illustrating what to expect. There's a Berenstain Bears book entitled Moving Day that my children used to love. There's another book called Benny's Moving Buddy. You can also use puppets and role play to help your children understand the move and process their emotions. Encourage your young children to talk about what they're feeling and thinking. Encourage them to ask questions. You can reassure them that their toys and blankets or favorite piece of clothing items will move with them. Whenever possible, try to create that sense of control. You can even give them little choices to make. Allow them to choose what t shirt to wear or which 2 or 3 toys to take on the car or the plane with them. Sesame Street for military families has some wonderful resources for moving with young children. They have videos on their website about relocation. They
Mhm.
also have downloadable coloring sheets, goodbye cards, and travel maps. They have moving box labels for children to label the boxes for their room. I actually have a sample here that I'll try and show you, but it's really cute. They're little stickers, and you can even download the labels from your computer and have your child write their name, and then you can put these labels on their boxes that go to their bedroom. Young children can also create their own Muppet friend to help them through the move on their website. Sesame Street also provides some great suggestions for talking with children about the move and their feelings surrounding it. And Lisa has put the link to that Sesame Street for military families specific to relocation in your chat box. You'll want to provide opportunities for these young children to say goodbye to friends, teachers, and other people that they know and love. Give them the chance to say goodbye to places, maybe their favorite playground or their Sunday school room. Reassure them that feelings of sadness or confusion are normal, and reassure them of your love. When you're moving with elementary age children, ages 6 to 12, you'll want to create that open and honest communication. Use age appropriate language to explain the reasons for moving and try to emphasize the positive aspects. Your children will likely have many questions. Try to answer these questions, but let them know that you might not have all of the answers yet. Explore the new place, the new school, and all of the new opportunities. You can go online together and look at pictures about the new location. You might want to discuss how the landscape is different and how the weather will be different. Make sure to point out those positives and listen to your children as they talk about what they're leaving behind, but also make sure to talk about what they have to look forward to. Just as we do with younger children, read books together where the character has to move. Point out how the character in the book has different feelings and what they do to make it through the changes in their lives. There is a book called I Move a Lot and That's Okay, Axel's story. This is written by Charmaine Perry Knights, and the author has also created a mindful coloring book, and it's called Post to Post, Coast to Coast. And I'm just going to share this. It's really cute. There's some great coloring pages that are very specific to military connected children. And I'm just going to put the title of this book and author in your chat box so that you can uh, perhaps look for that online for your children. Allow your children to say goodbye to their school, their friends, their teachers, their teammates, their neighbors. Talk with them about how you can stay in contact with friends through letters or video chats. Give them some control by letting them make decisions like what toys to take in the car or the airplane with them. And most importantly, reassure your child that you love them. Moving to a new location can be particularly hard for our teenagers from ages 13 to 18. Being with their friends and peers is very important for this age group. So, having to say goodbye and being that new kid over again at a new place is very challenging. Sometimes moves have additional challenges. For example, if your family is planning a move to or from an overseas location or moving in the middle of the school year, these types of moves are even more difficult for our teenagers. If you do want to delve into either of these topics, you might want to check out some of our MSEC webinars. One is called Transitioning from Overseas. We also have a webinar on moving mid-year, and you can find both of these on our YouTube channel, which Lisa has put in the chat box. So here are some tips specifically for our teenagers. Acknowledge their concerns, validate their fears and frustrations about leaving friends and familiar settings. Offer them the opportunity to say goodbye to friends and their peer groups. Involve them in decision making whenever possible. Allow them a say and ask for their feedback in selecting schools and extracurricular activities. Point out the positive aspects of a relocation. It's a chance for them to try out a different sport or activity and support their independence. Encourage them to explore the new community as well as maintain old friendships. So we are going to watch another video now that's called Lots to Do.
I've got lots of questions. So, Mom got me started researching Norfolk. Might as well check out the surf report. Says here, waves are kind of small. Gets colder there too? Guess that means less beach time and surfing. Not cool at all. But Dad says we've got the whole East Coast to explore. I guess, but it's not exactly the same. I'm getting pretty good at surfing, you know, on big waves. I don't want to lose my edge. Dad went to scope out houses. He sent a few pictures to check out. Very funny, Dad. My vote, if it's not near the water, it's a no-go for me. Things are starting to get real busy at home. Mom's got us throwing out stuff she thinks we don't need. And, you know, getting all organized. Pretty soon, I won't be able to find anything. Oh yeah, and I've been checking off my stuff to do before I go list. I hope there's time to fit it all in. Was counting on doing some of it with Al, but he's not much fun these days. He's all bummed about moving, especially leaving his football buddies and that girlfriend of his. I kinda get it. I'm a little worried too. I mean, I'll miss my friends, but I got all their numbers. We're gonna keep in touch for sure. Dad says I'll meet plenty of other military kids in Norfolk, even though we're living off base. Like here, I guess. And we've been filling out papers for the sponsorship program. So I'll meet some military kid who already lives there, and they'll show me around. I guess I'll give it a try.
I like that video. I think a lot of us can relate to things that that family is going through. And we are going to talk in a few minutes about that youth sponsorship program that he mentioned in the video. So, here are some additional best practices to help children of all age groups. Children of all ages who can effectively express their emotions through language are at an advantage when they're communicating with others or dealing with the stress of moving to another location. Young children may not yet have the vocabulary to express themselves and may act out in frustration or anger. But understanding emotions is critical to their overall development. Here are a few tips. Teach young children to give feelings names. Provide them opportunities to identify those feelings. Sometimes just putting a label on an emotion can help reduce their concern. Acknowledge their feelings. Discuss that a mixture of feelings is normal. It's also okay to share that you're sad to leave your friends. To help your younger children cope, help them express their feelings through drawings and pictures or even dance. For older children and teens, encourage them to express their concerns, their fears, and hopes for a new location. Teens can use creative outlets such as music, poetry, or art to express emotions. We do encourage you to take a look at a website. It's Bloom Empowering the Military Teen. This is a fantastic website that allows our military connected teens to share their stories and find comfort and advice. And Lisa has put that link in the chat box. It can also be helpful for children to write letters or create memory books to process emotions and maintain connections with their old friends. Keeping a feelings journal can be really helpful for children to articulate their emotions and their concerns before, during, and after the move. You may also want to introduce mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing, which helps children and teens and adults manage stress. So, here are some tips that you can use during the move. First, do routine things routinely. Keeping those routines is especially important during this time of unpredictability and change. Routines give children a sense of security and reliability. As much as possible, keep those family routines and spend time together. So, have those family traditions that move with you when you PCS. Maybe every Saturday might be family movie night. Maybe you read a story together before bed each night. Especially important for everyone's health is to keep that sleep routine, and also be sure that your children are engaging in regular physical movement throughout the move, getting some exercise and fresh air. If your child is school aged, ask your local school liaison about that youth sponsorship program that was mentioned in the video. These programs pair your child or teen with a peer at your new location. They can even communicate with each other before arrival at the new installation, which is wonderful because it allows your children the ability to make friends and build relationships prior to that move. You'll want to share age appropriate information. Just like adults, kids need the time and space to adjust to the idea of change, especially if it involves leaving their school and friends. Even after the initial talk about the move, keep those lines of communication open. If things do change, be open and honest and realistic. If we don't share information, children may come up with their own and sometimes often worse scenarios. Also, if we don't share information with our children, we're sending the message that they aren't able to handle it. You'll want to strengthen relationships within your family. Especially during relocations, family communication is critical. Talk to your children about an upcoming move as soon as you know it's going to happen. So, here are a few tips for keeping that conversation going. Listen to your children. Teens, particularly, may need to vent. Listen to their questions. There may be a lot, and provide honest answers as best you can. If the honest answer to a question is, I don't know, or I don't know yet, then it's okay to give that answer. Try to anticipate their needs and concerns. Have some answers and solutions ready if you can. For example, yes, they can bring their favorite stuffed toy or Levy in the car with them. Or, yes, the new place has a swim team that they can try out for. Reassure your children that the important things like family and love will not change. Encourage them to talk about what they will miss while still building excitement about the new place. This can help create a balanced perspective of the situation. Model how to manage a move and all the changes. You'll want to start by taking care of yourself. Make sure that you, as a parent, are getting enough sleep and maintain healthy routines. Let your children see your optimism and see your positive attitude. Children take cues from their parents. So if they see that we are okay, it's easier for them to feel okay. As you prepare for the move, involve your child as appropriate. Consider having them make packing lists or to do lists, or choose the special things that will be hand carried. Let them have some agency over the process. All right, and now I'm going to hand it over to Lisa to talk about some moving day tips with younger children.
Thank you, Emily. So regardless of whether you've moved a million times or not, moving days are stressful. And even though we do move frequently as military families, we and have done it more than once, there are usually hiccups, and I call those plot twists. Even when we have planned every detail, there are still surprises at every turn. No two moves are the same. The physical and emotional upheaval combined with leaving behind familiar places, friends, and routines, again, cause anxiety, sadness, and even excitement with our kids. Both those positive and negative emotions can and do coexist at the same time, and all those feels well up. Providing emotional support and practical strategies can help children and teens manage their feelings and reduce the stress during this critical day or days if it's more than one day. So we have a few tips. Again, keep a comfort item nearby for the younger kids. This can be the favorite stuffed animal or blanket or toy, and that can provide them reassurance and emotional comfort. Explain to them in the simple terms what all is happening and what to anticipate. Remind them that moving is a new adventure and that the family and pets and all those important belongings are coming along with them. When the movers are coming, right before, you can help your child pack one of their toys in a box, maybe. You can also give your child some crayons and have them decorate that box. Even some of the older kids enjoy doing that as well. At the other end, their boxes are more easily identified when they've been colored on, and you can unpack those boxes first. You can ask for a couple of empty boxes ahead of time also and let your child play with them. Sometimes the younger children like to be in that confined space where they can tune things out while all the hectic craziness is going on. And it can be fun as well. Keeping your routines, sticking to your meal times, nap times, bedtimes as much as possible is helpful for all ages. And again, acknowledging those feelings, validating their emotions by letting them know it's okay to be sad and confused or nervous or excited. And again, it's okay to have all those feelings all at one time. So, for our older children, the teens experience relocation differently, and that's probably not a surprise. They are more socially and emotionally aware of the impact that the move is having, and sometimes having had that experience before can be a benefit, and sometimes it adds to that anxiety. They may feel frustration and grief and stress about moving to the new environment. So, providing support and the autonomy for our teens also can help ease their emotions, and giving them some control is helpful for them as well. We can allow our teens to manage packing their own belongings or choosing music or audiobooks for the car ride if you're driving across country. This helps them feel involved rather than powerless. And on that last day, encourage communication with them and their friends. Let them take time to say goodbye through in person visits if possible. But if not possible, there's video calls and social media as well. But encouraging them to make plans and stay in touch with their friends can ease the sadness a little bit. You can also provide some anxiety or some opportunities for distraction and relaxation. They may want to listen to music or read or journal. Giving youth an outlet for their emotions will help them deal with the stress. Acknowledging their concerns and emotions, recognizing again and validating their feelings of loss and anxiety goes a really long way in providing comfort to them. Encouraging a positive perspective is also really, really helpful, even though they may not seem like they believe you at the time. And trust me, I understand that. Reminding your child or your teen about the benefits of moving, such as the new opportunities or new friendships for personal growth, really does help. And again, it may not seem like they believe you or that they are hearing what you're saying, but it is sinking in. It really is. So after the move, as you're thinking ahead in your move, keep in mind that you have a real opportunity to recalibrate your family tempo here. So this can be a great time to reevaluate your family's schedules. Think about meal times and extracurriculars. Maybe your child currently is very involved and you're constantly going from activity to activity, and you're finding that maybe they're doing their homework in the car or doing it late in the evening. Perhaps it's a good time to cut down on some of those activities. I know for one of my kids, she was very active with travel soccer throughout elementary school, and that very much dictated our family tempo and schedule. By the time she hit middle school and we moved, she decided she was going to retire from her soccer career. And even though that made me really sad because she was good and it was so much a part of our life, I did let her go ahead and make that decision. It gave her some control over that situation. And it also, in a good way, slowed down our family tempo. And so the overall benefit was good for everyone. And she shifted. She didn't just stop doing anything. She shifted her focus to other activities and started doing student government instead, which was really, a good fit for her. So meal times are also an opportunity to shift gears. The benefits of sharing mealtime as a family have been well established, and I know it really helped our family stay grounded and allowed us each to check in on each other regularly each day. The goal of mealtime is simply to find as many opportunities to get together throughout the week and then make the most of those opportunities. And that mealtime for us was dinner time, but it doesn't have to be dinner time. That shared meal could be breakfast if that works better for your family. I know I had one family tell us that their service member would come home and shower after his morning PT, and everyone would eat breakfast together before adults went off to work and kids went off to school. So that could be something to consider. It could be multiple meals together on the weekends and maybe fewer during the week, depending on what everyone's schedule is. Get creative with all this. Um, Let's say, for example, if a service member is geographically distant and the time zones or the work schedules only allow for calls later in the evening, maybe that shared meal is a dessert time together, and then it becomes, something really creative and fun. The bottom line here is there's a real opportunity to recalibrate the family tempo by reevaluating things that you may want to change. During the move, you can all discuss what you want to keep or what you want to change. Planning ahead together can be both a distraction from what's going on right now and a way to create positive attitudes for everyone. So, additionally, as you're planning your move, it's important to think ahead and have a plan for when you arrive at the new duty station. And it's very important to have a plan for how you're going to establish those new connections in the new community and do them as soon as possible. So, for the mobile children, that we have, they need time to adjust and figure out how things work in an entirely new environment where the social norms may be different from their previous location. Fitting in and being a part of a group is very paramount in their lives, especially in places where they are not lifelong natives and often lack the long term connections. Feeling connected in this term, in this way, refers to the sense of being cared for and supported and belonging, and it can be centered on feelings connected to a school or within family or other important people and groups in your child's life, like coaches and club sponsors. Connectedness is an important protective factor for our youth that can reduce the likelihood of a variety of health and risk behaviors. Protective factors are individual or environmental characteristics or conditions that promote the health and emotional well being of children and adolescents. Children who feel connected at school and at home are less likely to experience negative health outcomes. Studies show that feeling connected at school can also have positive effects on academic achievement, including having higher grades or test scores, maybe having better school attendance, higher graduation rates, and eventually an increase in post secondary education goals. So let's do a deeper dive into building connections at the new location. For the older kids and teens especially, friends influence every aspect of their social connections. And as I mentioned earlier, walking into the lunchroom alone can be very intimidating for a new military connected student when they are moving. So find out if the school has a mentorship program like Student to Student or another student-led ambassador club. We had Amanda share with us earlier that Anchored for Life is another possibility too, but find out ahead of time if they have something like that. I firmly believe that if this was around when I was a kid, that I would have had a much different experience with much less anxiety and stress. Um, Being paired with a peer student and knowing that they will not be sitting alone on the first day of school is really comforting. So look into the S2S program. Emily put the link in the chat box there. It's really wonderful. So it's okay for your children and teens to determine who they let into their life when moving to a new location. Openly discussing peer connections, friendship qualities, and allowing for autonomy is really important. Another way to think about peer connections or selecting new friends is to examine what kind of friend you'd like to have in your life. Maybe remind them of the golden rule of how treating others is paramount really in friendship and relationship. So then you can determine the characteristics and traits needed to be a good friend to others. In this slide on this bullseye diagram, you can see the different categories. The external ring represents acquaintances, so people you briefly know from school or clubs or sports teams. The middle ring are those you consider to be friends at school and clubs or sports practices. And then the center represents your closest friends, those lifelong friends or best friends, the ones you feel the most trust and safety with. I do know that we had multiple conversations with our kids over the years to just remind them and explain to them how not everyone you know is actually your friend. That conversation was something that we had to have even later in their schooling than I think most people would anticipate. So this is a really good conversation to have with your kids. So let's talk about building some connections here. And we have some tips. Helping your child by finding or joining new activities to connect them with their new military community is a great way to build those connections. You can help them find new hobbies or sports teams to establish new connections. There does seem to be, in my experience, more of a focus on athletics, but you don't have to be an athlete or have a family of athletes to get plugged in and connected. We were not a family of athletes, and by high school, our kids were constantly asked by folks in the new community, what sports do you play? And though that was annoying to them, they eventually turned it into something funny and kind of shift the conversation a little bit. And by doing that, sometimes they learned about new opportunities that were available that they had never even considered, or it was an opportunity for them to find out what kind of activities were available based on the interests that they already had. For families that are living on or near a military installation, you can explore options available for the kids to get involved in extracurricular activities and youth programs right there on or near the installation at the Child and Youth Services Center. And Emily just put some links in there for the different service branches, and you can get more information on those. The Child and Youth Centers are a great place to find out what programs are offered at the new installation. They have childcare, but they also typically link military families with installation sports, fitness programs, school-age centers. These installation youth centers can be really great for tweens and teens, especially to meet new peers and to find out about what other clubs or trips to get plugged into. These installation youth centers typically offer everything from computer labs to game rooms and are also staffed by trained professionals. Different locations can offer different types of activities. And I know that during one of our moves, when we moved to Massachusetts, one of our kids learned to do fencing and snowboarding at the youth center, which was really amazing because we were never offered either of those before or after. But it was a really great opportunity. It was offered right there on our base. So there are a lot of other organizations that have military partnerships like 4-H and Boys and Girls Club of America, which can provide opportunities for military kids to get together. Programs like these give them an opportunity to meet other kids in a low pressure situation where they can get to know each other while also doing things that they enjoy doing, like playing a sport or music or participating in that club. Not only do they offer an in to the community, but they also connect the children to groups of people with similar interests. So let's move on to some help options. Know that no matter how many relocations a military family experiences, it's still a challenging process, and some moves are just plain harder than others for a number of reasons. If you feel that your student is really struggling with a relocation, don't hesitate to reach out for help. You can talk to your child's primary care manager or pediatrician for a behavioral health referral to a child and youth counselor, or you can reach out to the Military and Family Life Counseling Program on your installation. The Military and Family Life Counselors are also known as MFLACs, and this program provides non-medical counseling to military families worldwide, and they're trained to work with the military community. Your child's school may even have one embedded in the school so that the student can talk to the MFLAC during school hours. And we're putting that link into the chat box for you. Thank you, Emily. So we're going to watch another video where we get to hear from kids directly what tips worked for them.
Something that helped me adjust to the school was helping my friends like take me around, seeing the activities for the school, what clubs, and seeing the teachers and stuff like that. And so that helped me adjust to the school, and I felt a little bit better after that, after they showed me where to go and show me around the school.
I go to an arts school. All the kids there are they're not afraid to be themselves, and I think that's really helped me because I can just be whoever, and it doesn't matter what they think.
What helped me at school to adjust was definitely sports and friends. I started off in sports, and that's how I actually met a lot of my friends, and that helped a lot. And then I was in a program, but it was National Junior Honor Society, and that's how I met a lot of my friends too.
One thing that helped me adjust was my artwork, I'd have to say, because I'm very quiet, and that's all I did to kind of be in my zone. You know, I didn't think about moving, I didn't think about making friends. I just, I stick to my artwork, and it helped me out a lot.
Having a counselor there to talk to, that's what helped me adjust to everything. Like when I had one of my military counselors. They always came and they talked to a bunch of kids in a group, and we expressed our feelings and stuff about, like, basically how we felt when we moved and how we feel now. It just made us feel comfortable.
All right, I love that video, and I love how some of the kids addressed some of the non-athletic activities like National Honor Society and even hobbies like their art. Relocation is unavoidable in the military lifestyle, but with some preparation and intentional support and patience, parents can ease the move for our kids. By recognizing developmental needs and maintaining social connections and fostering resilience, our children can thrive despite the frequent moves. Remember, by focusing on the positives, you can transform what is scary and stressful into a real opportunity for growth and new experiences. I do want to share a final story of my family. Our oldest daughter moved 4 times in high school, and she's the one that gave me all the gray hair. This was also the child that was bound and determined to make everyone as miserable and frustrated as she was during this time period. But now she's a grown adult, Army wife, Army mother, and because it's the month of the military child, she was asked to share what her experiences were as a military child for a newsletter. And I kind of held my breath when she told me that she was sharing, because, you never really know what their perspectives are for a long time while you're going through all this relocation and moves. But I'd like to share the quote with you and hope that it leaves you with some encouragement. She said that as a kid, I didn't choose the military life, but now that I'm grown, I greatly appreciate the experiences it gave me, the amount of resiliency that I've developed, the ability to connect with different people, and the deep appreciation I have for those who serve all came from my time as a brat. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So as we conclude today, everyone, I just say hang in there to our parents and know that we're here to support you. We shared a ton of valuable resources today, and we encourage you to look into them further and know that we are here to support you. So I'm going to turn it over to Emily now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, Lisa. We would like to thank all of you so very much for joining today's webinar. We'd like to invite you to take the survey for this specific one. You can do that by clicking on the survey link in your chat box. You can also use that QR code that's there on your slide. It only takes a couple of minutes, and we do appreciate your feedback. You can connect to this quickly, and once you're in the survey, you can type in the 4-digit webinar number, which is 5025, and then at the end of the survey, you'll just hit submit. If you don't fill it out now, that is okay. Following the webinar, you'll receive an email invitation to take the survey. We do use this tool to make ongoing improvements to our webinar series, as well as adding new topics of interest and providing feedback to our funders. We'd also like to invite you to check out SchoolQuest. This is an online interactive tool that was specially designed to support our highly mobile military families and students. It has a variety of resources to help students achieve academic success and well-being as they move during these 6th through 12th grade years. There are lots of tips that it contains, as well as downloadable resources. We'd love for you to sign up today. It is free, and the link is in your chat box. If you have any education related questions, concerns, or issues for your military connected children, we have our military student consultants, or MSCs. They are the premier source to help you with your one-on-one questions that you may have for your students. To contact a military student consultant, you can email them at msc@militarychild.org, and that information is also in your chat box. The Wellbeing Toolkit was developed for parents, school professionals, behavioral and mental health professionals, and community leaders. This tool is full of resources for all aspects of the military connected child's well-being. We'd love for you to explore it on our website and share it with others. You can use that QR code there, or the link is in your chat. If you have missed one of our previous webinars, or if you'd like to watch this again, the recordings can be found on our website at militarychild.org, as well as on our YouTube channel, and that information is there in your chat. We are excited to announce webinars that are presented specifically for our Spanish speaking military community. Please join Mariella and Yasmina at the end of each month for these special webinar presentations funded by HEB. As with the rest of our webinars, these do begin at noon Eastern Time. The next webinar in Espanol is on April 24th, and the topic is the effects of being a mobile military student. We'd love for you to join us for our 2025 Global Training Summit, July 7th through 9th at the Westin Washington, D.C. Downtown Hotel. This is an opportunity for MSEC student to student teams and all other peer to peer student transition teams from around the world to network and collaborate with each other. The MSEC Global Training Summit is also the premier professional development opportunity for those who serve and support the educational needs of military and veteran connected students. And we have information in your chat box about that. MSEC is honored to partner with Columbia Southern University to provide the Military Child Education Coalition Heroic Heart Scholarship to a member of the military caregiving population. Our caregiving youth are children and young adults up to age 18 who are actively involved or currently impacted by the care needs of a wounded, ill, or injured service member. This scholarship is a wonderful opportunity. It provides tuition and technology fees for 120 credit hours. The recipient must be available to begin coursework within 6 months of the award date. And we are putting information in your chat box about this Heroic Heart Scholarship. The MSEC Call for the Arts program invites military connected children from all over the world, representing every branch of service, to share interpretations through art of what it means to be a military connected child. The deadline to submit these art submissions is April 30th, so it's coming up. For more information, you can scan that QR code or click the link in your chat box. In partnership with Lockheed Martin Space, MSEC shines a light on STEM careers through a series of 5 1-hour virtual sessions discussing agriculture, health sciences, business administration, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence and engineering. The next webinar is coming up on April 28th. It focuses on business administration, and it's from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are putting registration information for this webinar series in your chat box. If you are interested in obtaining a certificate of completion after today's live presentation, please complete that online survey and contact research@militarychild.org. We would love for you to join us for our upcoming webinars. This Thursday, tomorrow, April 17th, we'll be presenting Empowering Military Connected Children, Building Self-Advocacy Skills. And then next Tuesday, April 22nd, for part 1 of Understanding Child Trauma and Resilience for Military Parents and Caregivers. Registration links for these will be in your chat box. Please know that all of these webinars do begin at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Time. We would like to give a very special thanks to the Air Force School Liaison Program for making today's webinar possible. Thank you so much to all of you for your interest and your participation. We're going to stay on for just a couple more minutes, and you can also see that Lisa has put the resource for today's webinar in your chat box one more time. So please feel free to download that. We just appreciate you all. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much, everyone.